Hello and welcome to AZ in the Circle, Arizona softball podcast, where we highlight hardworking, talented softball players and coaches in and from the 48th state. Today we have two stud ballers that are now playing for Harvard. So they're smart too. So Alexa Wohr, there you go. She's from Desert Vista High School. She's a sophomore at Harvard. And we got Quinn Salazar-Stewart over there from Hamilton High School. Go Huskies. She's a freshman there. So welcome you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. And you guys being from Desert Vista and Hamilton, you guys probably played each other a lot.
We did.
Yeah,
Yes,
multiple
we did.
times.
Yeah.
Through our club and high school.
So it's a lot better being on the same team
For sure.
and having to face each other. Okay, good. Great. Well, we got 5 questions set up for you two today. Hey, but before I say any more, if you please subscribe and like us. It's very important to spread the word about our show here. And so thank you. I appreciate it. Like and subscribe. Okay. So the 5 questions we're going to ask, we're going to recap the 2024 season, recap your last summer club ball over there, and then we'll go into fall ball. You're both there. You know, how did fall ball go? And then your coaching staff, I think they're pretty awesome, and they got a lot of energy, I imagine, based off the fact that they just came off the playing field for the most part. Like 90% of them have just came off. Coach Rowan's the only one that's, maybe a few years separated for playing. I want to hear about how that's going. And then share your recruiting journey leading up to September 1st. And then we'll take a break. We'll do your recruiting journey first. And after the break, we'll hear from our sponsor, Polaris PT out in Queen Creek. And then after the break, we'll come back and hopefully share your recruiting journey with us. And then we'll wrap up with the last 2 questions. Knowing what you know now, what would you tell your younger self? And then what are your personal keys to success? All right, so let's get going. Thanks for joining us. And Alexa, let's recap your 2024 season. Harvard went to the Ivy League championship. All right, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
You guys came pretty close to going to the show. And what's your best memory on the field? Was it the 2-run RBI hit for the win versus Iowa?
Honestly, I don't fully remember that game. That weekend was a whirlwind. There were so many different things happening because it was my first actual weekend playing collegiate softball. But I would say that my best memory on the field still was from that weekend, but it was my first career hit. I remember it was a pinch hit at bat, and I came up, and I think it was an RBI as well. It might not have been, but I remember I rounded first, and I just saw my parents in the stands, and my mom had tears streaming down her face. My great-grandma, my grandma, my aunt, my cousins, everybody there screaming, yelling. It was just like a full circle moment because they were there from the beginning. And to have them there for my first collegiate at bat because they were just as excited as I was.
Opening weekend. Pinch hit. You come through.
Yeah.
Wow, that's amazing. And then what about your best memory off the field?
That one's hard because we spend a lot of time together as a team. I would say more broadly, one of my favorite memories or some of my favorite memories are just our time in, it sounds cliche, but in the library. I remember last year I spent time with one of our seniors, Anna Reed. We had class together at 9 a.m. and we didn't leave each other until 2 a.m. So we were just in the library shopping, doing work, doing random things. But
You have to be quiet in the library.
No.
No.
There's different stages of
Because you think
libraries
about
here.
the library, you think about it. No.
No, there's different types of libraries. But yeah, just staying there until 2 o'clock in the morning, talking about life, talking about softball, getting to know each other on a different level, which I'll never forget. But yeah, that was awesome.
Great. That's good. And then Quinn, recap your last summer of club ball. I know that's got to be, it's such a marathon, right?
It is.
So your last, tell me what clubs you played for this last summer.
I played for Athletics Mercado Smith, so
That's their premier club.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it is a California team, so that was definitely tough. I would say traveling, I would go up every weekend for practices, like every single weekend. So that was definitely tough, but it was fun. It's a good team to push me right before I got to college, and I'm grateful for it. I mean, coaches were awesome. I enjoyed it. I would say going back, maybe I would have played for an in-state team, but in the end, it was awesome. Practices were great, and I think I really prepared myself coming into Harvard, so that was really cool.
Good. What about one of your best summer memories from club ball?
I would say it wasn't necessarily from this last summer, but the summer before. I was on Arizona Storm, and we made it to the quarterfinals of PGF, and I had an at bat and I hit a line drive up the right side. I ended up getting an in the park home run. Yeah.
You must be kind of fast.
Sometimes.
So it went to the. You're lefty.
I'm not. I'm
righty.
righty.
And you hit Oppo.
I did hit Oppo.
Oh, and it went to that right field corner.
Yes.
And you couldn't catch it from there.
No.
That's awesome.
So yeah, that was a lot of fun. Just like energy behind that was awesome, and like
Good.
my teammates. So.
And then what about your best summer memory off the field?
I would say honestly, just like seems cliche, but spending time with my teammates. I'd say I have a lot of good high school memories too. Like just from my high school teammates too. Like our out of state trip to Bullhead. That was so much fun.
Oh yeah, the
like,
6A team. They all go there.
Yeah, it was
Saturday
awesome.
O'Connor, Hamilton. All you guys go up there.
Yeah, so that was always so much fun. Just like getting to stay in the, and I'm sure it's gonna be just like that in college too. So that's what I'm super excited for. But I love that. That was probably my best like softball memory overall. Just being there with them.
Yeah. And I've heard that with team sports, you know, whether it's softball, whether it's football,
Right.
it's the camaraderie that you enjoy the most after. I mean, you enjoy the field game, right? But afterwards, it makes it so much more enjoyable to be around.
Mm-hmm.
That's great. Sure. Super. Well, let's talk about fall ball. Now, both of you now finally came together for fall ball. Quinn, tell me, what was your experience coming onto campus? And did you have anybody that, hey, took you under your wing because you're a catcher, and got you, hey, it's going to be okay, calm down? Or how was that experience coming onto campus, coming from Arizona, going to the Northeast? Tell me about it.
I'd say Alexa was definitely a big help. We met up a couple times. She helped me with my classes, so that was awesome. But just the whole team in general is awesome. They're so welcoming. Like, I think I got texts from all the sophomores this year. Like, they all made a point to like reach out to us, and so that was super cool. And like, I was nervous. I mean, going from Arizona to like across the country, East Coast, different weather, like hours away from home. Like, it's not like an easy plane ride. So I was like, I don't know how I'm going to adjust to this, but I'd say it was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. Like, freshmen are awesome too. I love my class. They're amazing, all super outgoing, like very, very outgoing. We laugh about that because we say like we're the loudest class, but it's amazing. I mean, captains are awesome too. I'd say Fitz is like, we have like partners on the team, and she's my buddy. So we were supposed to check in on each other, and she's been amazing, just helping me out with everything in classes too. So it was good. And then as softball wise, I was proud of myself because I feel like I came in pretty confident. So I enjoyed fall a lot.
Oh, I've seen you play. When last summer you actually practiced with our team sometime because we were Athletics Mercado, because you were out of state, so you practiced with us and you were super intense. And yeah, so of course you're going to do great there. And was that a happy place for you on the diamond, on the field? You're like, oh, this is what I'm comfortable with.
For sure. I'd say honestly, like when I got to Harvard, like I like just felt like I was supposed to be there. Like, I think a lot of people have that experience too. It's just, like I said, such a welcoming environment, and I love the coaches. They're so encouraging, so positive, and they just make it easy to do your best and to like really push yourself. And they're big about like, if you make a mistake, then fix it. They just want everyone to have a good attitude. So I'd say like they really like make it easy for you to thrive. And I think that like I'm just exactly where I'm supposed to be. So that was really cool noticing that.
Senior roster, and Coach Rohn's put together a very tough, gritty roster.
For sure.
Because I've seen the players before they get to Harvard, and I was like, oh, that's a good player. Where's she going? Oh, she's going to Harvard.
Right.
And then you. I was like, wow, that's a really tough team.
Mm-hmm.
Is that seem to be the case?
Very much.
Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad. And then, okay, Alexa, tell us about your fall ball, and you're going through some adversity, right?
Yes.
How's it going?
So I got injured at the end of last season and played through it. But we've recently found out that I have thoracic outlet syndrome, which is a compression of nerves and blood vessels in my shoulder. So it's a lack of space between like my collarbone and my rib cage. So basically, my arm would go numb. I would have no feeling. I would have tingling. Couldn't run, couldn't throw, couldn't do anything. The only thing I could do was hit. And even that was very minimum. So it was an interesting fall, I would say. I think freshman year is a lot of adjustments, but this year was even more so, I would say, for me. But I mean, I had the time of my life. I think waking up every morning and knowing that I was going to hang out with my teammates, whether I was just going to be there to be loud or if I was actually going to be like able to participate for the day. It didn't matter to me at that moment in time, which I think is a completely different perspective than what I would have had last year. But yeah, so we're in the clear now. For right now, I had Botox actually in my shoulder, which is supposed to like create extra space and things like that. So I start throwing as soon as we get back on campus, and then hopefully we're in the clear for that one. So yeah,
because we're just a few weeks away from opening weekend again.
Yep.
Going by
February
fast.
1st is like our first practice that we can have.
Yeah.
So.
That's just a few days away.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. That's crazy. Okay, good. And then I also wanted to ask you about some of your teammates. You know, now that you've seen the younger crew come in, and then you got the juniors and seniors. Tell us about some of them, please.
The freshmen are amazing. They're full of life, full of energy, and just bring this team to a whole nother piece. As a team, we harp on energy a lot, I would say, and the freshmen bring it. And I think my class, the sophomore class, has a lot of talent built into it, and we truly want to bring the program to the next level. And obviously, all the upperclassmen do as well, but there's a different energy because we are the first group to be fully coached by Coach Jenny and Coach Maddie and Micah and all of Coach Xiao. So it's an interesting group, but the seniors are nothing but amazing. They definitely have taken everyone under their wing, I would say, for sure. And then the juniors themselves too just bring so much fire and passion into the game, which is awesome to be around all the time.
I saw your picture before she went to Harvard. She was playing in the Triple Crown International Challenge for Great Britain. Tall, red hair. What's her name? Nikki.
Love Nikki.
And I was like, wow, that's a really good picture. And that's when I found out where's she going. And Harvard, like, wow,
oh yeah,
it's amazing. So, and there's another good picture, a competitor out there, same class from Dartmouth. Jensen.
Yes.
So I think really between those two pitchers, they really that game's got to be pretty competitive.
Yes, the Ivy League has grown exponentially in competitiveness and even just skill wise. I mean, Sophie's son on our team in my class was Player of the Year and Rookie of the Year in the same year, which has never happened, and things like that, and was a top 10 contender for Freshman of the Year. And so it's just the Ivy League is growing, and it's crazy to see because during our recruiting and things like that, it wasn't that. It was very much an academic heavy like chance to play, and now it's definitely you have to be solid in both, which is
you got to be smart, like you always had to be smart. Yes. And now you want studs on the team.
Yes.
You want the best of both worlds, and they have it. Well, obviously they have it with you two, and your picture there talked about. And then that brings me back to something you said: high energy. I was thinking about Coach Roan, right? And then the assistant coach, Micah, Sutherland, she's from Gilbert, Arizona. If you guys hit it off there, because you guys have another person from Arizona, Xavier, went to Xavier Prep, Riley.
Yes.
So there's an Arizona connection there.
So.
You guys ever play on it or talk about it?
For sure, yeah. We like to go back on our memories we talk about like Dutch Bros and all of that stuff, and the weather for sure, the sunsets, all of that stuff. Our parents will send us pictures and we'll be like, oh my gosh, guys, like, look what we just like, my parents were floating in the pool and it was like.
Yeah, but you guys have snow there.
Pouring rain. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, it's so much fun.
So you got a young Coach Sutherland, young Coach Roan, you got Coach Maddie Karp, who just finished at Boston College, I think literally.
2 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, she just finished. This was her first year of coaching, right? Last year, yeah. And then Coach Jen, she played at Oregon State and Hawaii right, at the end. So that's a high energy staff. And they just recently came off the diamond. So I was wondering, how does that translate to the tempo of practices, your team chemistry, recruiting, the overall culture? There has to be, with that kind of energy there, it has to translate somehow. Does it?
Yeah, for sure. I would say the energy is unmatched. All of our coaches really relate to us in a different level, I think, because they are so fresh off of the diamond. And they truly do care. I mean, I've never met a coaching staff that takes time to meet with players individually on a consistent level. I mean, we have 4 meetings a semester just to check in how we're doing off the field, on the field, and they're our biggest resources.
Just as a person.
Just as a person. I think for our coaching staff, which is very unique, I think they truly care more about us as people than they do care about us as athletes, which is amazing. But
I would agree with that. Like, I've never had a coach to get, like, I've gotten, like, a, hey, how are you doing text from, and I think I've gotten, like, 5 from Coach Roan. Like, she's awesome. I remember we had, like, a meeting one time, and she texted me after, and she was like, hey, like, you look tired. Like, are you okay? Just genuinely care, and it's so awesome. Same thing with, like, all of the other coaches. Like, they just check in and like they're like, hey, I heard about this. Like, this is awesome. Like, I can relate. Like, how's that going? Like, ask us about classes. Like, it's cool having such a young coaching staff too. Like you said, like they relate. They're just young. They know what we're going through. Like, they just finished. Like, they know the adversity that it takes in college, like the hard work it takes, and like, I mean, like balancing classes. So it's really cool. And they're, like I said, they're young. They're so young. So they're all like hyper and energetic, and they joke with us, but they also know like when to take things seriously too. So it's a very good balance.
On that, you said that you before we started filming, you said something about they're super effective and they get the stuff done without doing that old school. What were you? How were you saying it?
I have had a lot of coaches who are yellers, and that, I mean, if that's like the type of coaching style you're like, nothing against that, but I would say like this coaching staff is very good at coaching you while being positive at the same time. Like, I don't think I've been yelled at. Like, I mean, you hear like stern comments, but it's nowhere near like aggressive. And I just think that they want to push us. They want to make sure we're working hard, but they understand that mistakes are going to happen as well. So it's such a positive group of coaches, and I think like it's giving me a better opportunity to grow and to like make adjustments without like being scared of making a mistake. And it's really building a team that like has confidence rather than like cowers under pressure because they're worried about getting like yelled at. So.
Good. And then how has it helped with recruiting, with having this incredible staff and then having that kind of energy? Have you seen it play itself out in recruiting when people come visit, or how has that helped?
I think it helps for girls to come, and like they're like the coaches are easier to talk to than like maybe like an older coach. Like, it's just like same thing. Like, they can relate. I mean, they can give them like advice from like their college experience. Like, they'll come in and be like, Harvard's awesome. Like, I went to college softball, and they're like, I love it here too. Like, this is such a good program that like they can tell you firsthand. Like, we've seen both. And so I think that's helped a lot with girls as well. And I think just the connection they can build with our like assistants and even Coach Roan too. But a young staff is awesome. And I think like girls want to play for people that they relate to more and still want to win at the same time. So I think that's helped a lot.
Good. All right. So let's, before we go to break, I want to hear one of you guys' recruiting stories. So who wants to go first?
Want me to go first?
Sure.
I can go first.
All right. So here's what I want to share. Tell me your recruiting journey leading up to September 1st,
Okay.
right, of your junior year, and then how you ended up at Harvard.
Okay.
Take us through when they offered you, when you told them, hey, I accept, all the good fun stuff. But whatever there was in between too, let us know.
Okay. So leading up to September 1st, I had been going to so many camps, and there's always like the nerves behind that. And I had gone to like a Notre Dame camp, Northwestern, I'd gone to Stanford, like all these like high.
In your mind, you were thinking, I'm going to go play at a high level,
Yes.
at a high academic school.
Yes, that is what I wanted. That was like my ultimate goal. I'd gone to Harvard. I had gone to just a bunch of like high academic like camps. And so that was my goal. I wanted to go for academics first, because in the end, I'm like, I know softball is going to end at some point. So I wanted something to like, I guess like not necessarily fall back on, but just something like to push me forward in life as well. So that was my interest. And then September 1st happens, get a couple calls. I'm talking to colleges, and like recruiting's rough. So like ups and downs, like something's not the right fit, or like the college just finds like someone else they'd rather like commit. And it was hard. I'd say it was long. And the same thing for like Ivy League schools, they take longer committing, especially with Allard. She took a long time. She wanted to be sure that she wanted to commit somebody.
Well, that's great,
It
Coach
is.
Allard, because
That's great.
fantastic now. She's at Pitt right now, and she's
She
turning
is.
that program around.
Yeah,
But you're
she's
right.
awesome.
If you're going to invest in somebody that's going to affect your livelihood,
Oh, for sure.
better get a good look at her.
Yeah.
And she likes the fact that they can make a decision
Yes,
longer.
she does.
Yeah.
Well, because you have to worry about like academics too. So that's another thing with like Ivy League schools and like high academic schools. Like they have to wait for your SATs, your ACTs. Like they want to look at all that to make sure like you can even get in the first place. So that was definitely tough. Like the waiting game, like seeing everybody else commit. Like when I wanted to go to like a higher level of school, but they were just able to commit right away. So that was a little bit tough. I ended up committing August, right before my senior year, to Harvard, and actually right before, like a month before that, I was like going through with Coach Allard. Like I had been talking to her. They didn't know I was the last commit in my class. So they didn't know if they had a spot like to like get somebody else into like on the team. So I was waiting on that. And I remember I was driving home from a tournament, and Coach Allard texted me like, hey, like, do you have time to call? And I was like, uh-oh. Like, I was like, uh-oh. So I'm like, yes, like, I'm available now. Like, I'm in the car. She calls me and she's like, I am switching schools. And I was like, oh no. I'm like, this is probably not great. Like, she's the one who's done all my recruiting. Like, whole coaching staff is changing. So I'm like, ugh. And she's like, I'm switching schools, but I am like, we have an amazing coach coming in, Coach Roan. She's like, it's going to be announced in like the next day or two. I'm passing.
Did you know that she was already an assistant under her before?
I did not know that at the time. I did not. I ended up finding out later, and she told me, I think a little bit later when we were talking, but she was like, I'm passing your recruiting on to her. She's amazing. I'm going to have her fight for this like spot for you. Like she's going to do you right.
Awesome.
Yes.
You know, most coaches be like, I'm out the door.
Yes.
Leave it.
She's awesome. I have so much respect for Coach Allard. And, you know, it was still nerve wracking because I'm like, oh, I don't know if this is going to work out. Like, she's never seen me play. So a couple weeks go by and I've had a couple calls with Coach Roan, send her as many videos as I can. So she just like knows, like I swear I'm a good player. Like, take a chance. I know you don't know me. But a couple weeks go by and they ended up getting the spot and she offered me. And I was Coach Roan's first commit of like her head like as a Harvard coach. That was really cool.
When she called you and told you, yeah, we do have a spot for you, how was that feeling? Was your parents home or did she just called you, texted you? How to paint that picture?
I think I was actually my mom was a school teacher. So I think I was in my mom, like at school helping my mom, like in her classroom. And she was like, okay, like we had a call set up and she called me and she was like, we have a spot. This is like your official offer. And I was like, this is awesome. I'm like, this is amazing. I'm so excited. And I was like, let me talk to my dad. Let him know. And she's like, okay, yeah, call me back in like 2 days and give me your answer. Or let me know how you feel. And I was like, okay, awesome. I called my dad. I was like, I'm going to commit. I was like, I'm going to commit. And he's like, okay, just wait. Make sure like think it through. And I was like, okay. Called her back a couple days later. And I was like, Patrol, like, I'm coming. Like, I want to be here. This is where I want to be. And she was like, she said, let's go.
Yeah, it's good.
And I was like, awesome. So yeah.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that story. That's fantastic. And there's a lot of patience you had to use there through the whole process. Mm-hmm. You got it.
I did. Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, hey, we're going to take a break. We're going to go listen to Brig with Polaris PT, and we'll be right back.
At Polaris PT and Wellness, we believe that movement is medicine. We believe that as an athlete, you should be performing at the highest level. And so we deliver performance-driven solutions to get you back out onto the field faster. So give us a call at 480-808-4995 or reach out to us through our website, www.polarisptphx.com, where movement is medicine.
And we're back. Thank you, Brig, with Polaris PT out in Queen Creek. All right, so next, Alexa, we want to hear your recruiting journey. So go ahead, share what happened leading up to September 1st, at September 1st, after September 1st, all the way to Harvard.
So I played on a very competitive club team. I played for Steve Apple for most of my club career, which we took second at PGF one year, and that just started recruiting for my entire team. So I started going to camps, started emailing, doing all of that stuff, which emailing was a big part of my recruiting career, but also, I had a very similar to Quinn. Obviously, the Ivy League is very, I wouldn't say delayed, but they do take their time, especially I was with Coach Allard recruiting process too, and Coach Roan before she went to Western Michigan and things like that. So I committed my summer going into my senior year. We were at, I don't remember what tournament it was at, but I remember they came up to my head coach Brandon at the time, and they were like Brandon Telesco with Cal now.
With Coach Stankiewicz.
Yes. So
you went after you played with Coach Apple, then Coach Apple went to coach a younger team or something like that.
Yeah. So he went to coach the younger, and then I jumped to Marissa and Brandon Stankiewicz's club team. And so we were playing in a summer tournament. I don't know exactly which one it was, but Coach Allard had come up to Brandon and was like, "We want her. She's the catcher that we want." And Brandon went up to my dad. Brandon never told me. My dad told me. And my dad comes to me after the game and just like crying.
Your dad's crying?
Yes. And he's so non-confrontational, no, like very little emotion. But like when it comes to like big moments for his kids, he shows it. And so I think I was very shocked when I heard, because I didn't know how to feel. I was like, okay, I still don't know if I'm in, where my parents are like, no, like you got this, like you've put so much work into it. And in my head, I'm like, yes, but there's still more work that needs to be done. So yeah, it was going through applications, getting reference letters, doing all this, and even senior year, making sure that our grades were still what they should have been, because just because you get in doesn't mean that you're guaranteed.
You also wanted to go to a high academic school.
Very
you
much
told
so.
me you went to some other camps too that were high
Yes.
academic camps.
Yeah, I went to some other high academic camps, but I always told my parents I started softball when I was 5 years old. And once recruiting became in the picture, I told my parents from day one that softball was going to be my ticket to my education. Like Quinn said, softball ends eventually. And I always knew that I could get to a high academic school, but I never thought in a million years it would lead me to Harvard. I don't think if I didn't have softball that I would have ever even tried to get into Harvard. But they took a chance on me. I went to one camp, and from there I started talking to Coach Allard and things like that I could in September 1st and things like that. So I think that was just a crazy point in like recruiting, because everything feels so surreal. And then I remember I got my acceptance, like early action acceptance letter. My family and I were on family vacation in London. We were
in the summer after.
So you get your acceptance letter, your early action letter in October, I think it is. And we were in London watching the Giants Packers football game with our family friends. And I don't remember what sparked me to look at my email. It was like 2:00 in the morning. I open my phone and I just see confetti falling down on my email. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm like shaking, I'm trembling. My parents are across the hall from us, and I go knock on the door, and my face is just like this. And I like show them my phone, and my dad is just like, oh my gosh, and my mom too. And we're all just like kind of like so shocked because we weren't expecting it at that moment. But it was just such a magical moment, just like spend it with my family. And
So did you go to the Queen's Castle the next day, or
we went
down
towards
Abbey or Abbey? Would you go anywhere big and celebrate?
Explored. We went to like the Giants like headquarters, like their restaurant, and like all of that stuff. But something in my brain told me that I was gonna get this letter.
When in London or in New York?
We were in London.
Okay.
Yeah. So something in my brain told me that I was gonna get this letter, because I packed the one and only Harvard merch that I had. And so the next day I wore the crew neck, and I just remember calling Steve Apple and Brandon and just crying almost on the phone of being like, I got into my like dream school that I never.
When you called the next day, you woke them up because it was so early, or you waited?
No, I called them at 2:00 in the morning London time. And
so it was early evening here.
Yeah, it was about. I remember Steve was on the driving home from work, and I was like, you're never going to believe this. I got into Harvard. And he was and Steve was my softball dad from day one. We were very close, like family friends, family vacations, all of that. And so just sharing that moment with him, it was just so surreal. But
he helps so many ballers, right?
Yes.
His connections. And so when coaches say, hey, when Coach Apple says to a coach, this is a really good player, they listen because he knows
he's
softball.
good at his job. That is for sure. He's one of the best salesmen I've ever met in my life. We would have times where we would go at it, but at the end of the day, I knew that man had my back, and I wouldn't change like any experience that I had with him for anything.
That's great. And when you told Coach Brandon, what did he say?
Same thing. I mean, they were there through the thick of recruiting, and I hit with Marissa for a long time. She was my hitting coach, and so just giving them that phone call was just because I had other offers from other schools and things like that, and I was like, no, I can't take this. Like, I have to see this experience out. And once I called Marissa, and she was honestly in tears, and like, it was just such a moment because she knew exactly, like, there was times I was crying in her hitting facility and things like that. And just to like, she was there from day one. So I think for all of us, it was just an unreal moment. But yeah.
Marissa was making you cry during hitting drills.
No.
Yeah. No, I'm
Many
just kidding.
times.
Yeah, she's tough.
Oh, yeah.
But she's good.
Love her.
Yeah.
Love her to pieces.
Yep. All right, super. Well, that's an awesome story. Both of you guys' story. I mean, you guys are two of the smartest girls in the country sitting right here in our studio. And gritty, too, because you guys are both catchers. So, I mean, you got to be gritty to play softball, but it's like an extra level of grittiness that you have to be a catcher. Do you think that was a big, that grittiness that you developed young, before you got into the recruiting age, and then you're recruiting and you're still playing college, high school softball, club softball. You think that helped you grind in the classroom and be persistent and have patience with the whole process?
For sure. I think catching, you're the leader of the field. And I think it's a different perspective when you can see everything that's going on. And you're the only position that can do that. So I think in the classroom, I think that kind of led into it too, because I was such a big picture person. But then I would also look at the such small moments and put so much pressure on myself during that time, when in reality, now looking back at it, like it didn't matter as much in terms of that. But I think, and we grew up going to the same catching coach, Jen Broderick, and things like that. So we would compete against each other on the weekly, at least twice a week, and things like that. So I think having that competitive edge and always having, I think the two of us, someone to push each other was just awesome. I think for our recruiting, and one, and two, just I think our personalities go really well together and as a 1-2. So yeah.
Super. That leads us to my next two questions. Knowing now what you know, what would you tell your younger self, Alexa, about the college softball recruiting process?
It's a marathon. I think you play on these high level teams and you have teammates that commit right on September 1st, and you're like, oh, that could be me. But you have to look at the bigger picture. I think there's a spot for everyone. And I look back at it and I knew what I wanted. I wanted a high academic school and I wanted certain things, and it had to check off different boxes. Like I wanted seasons and I wanted a place that I would thrive at if I didn't have softball, and things like that. And I think also finding time for yourself. Looking back, I was so softball focused, and obviously got me where I am today. But now I think this year especially, I found time to do things for myself. Like I go and adventure into Boston and go find new coffee shops and different things like that I would have never done, where now I see softball as something fun and something that I always want to remember, where I think when I was younger, it was almost like school, right? You wake up, you go to school, and then you go to practice for 3 hours, and then you do homework and you repeat the same day over and over. And it's now looking back at it, it was for a reason. And once you get to college, you have so much free will and so much things that you get to choose what you want to do. And it's awesome to have softball as a choice to be able to play.
Good. Speaking about walking around in Boston, you guys been over to Fenway to catch the Red Sox play?
Yes.
I haven't watched a game, but I've been to Fenway. Like when I got to college, my parents wanted to do like the tourism stuff.
Okay.
They want to be like little tourists. So we went on like a tour of the stadium, and that was super cool. Like history behind that's awesome. And Boston in general, I think we went on a couple Boston tours too. So
have you been to the Fenway? That's so much fun, right?
Oh, it's so much fun. And they really encourage student life at Fenway. I mean, they do student nine, so we get tickets for like $9 and things like that. So you get to mix around with kids from BC and BU, but there's nothing is greater than summer baseball.
Don't you think it almost feels like playoff baseball
all the time
in June and July? Any game you go to at Fenway, it feels like, hey, why is there so much energy?
Yes.
It feels like a playoff game.
Oh yeah,
it does
for sure. And I'm a giant Yankee fan, so I do not support the Red Sox in any way.
What do you do? Wear your Harvard stuff?
Oh no, if the Yankees are there, I'm full Yankee. I will wear Yankees throughout Boston with no shame.
She's
nothing.
always wearing her Yankees.
It does not matter. But the atmosphere is just crazy, and it's crazy now playing collegiate softball, because that atmosphere almost gets translated to like your games, which you don't get in club.
Yeah, that's true. But that's what I love about softball. It's the energy right from the get-go, right? In that first inning, so much can happen, right? And then it gets deep in the game, and it happens pretty quick, right? You get to the 5th, 6th, 7th inning, the championship innings, I call, and then the pitcher, either change the pitcher, or the pitcher and the batters have the third round with the pitcher, and you never know what could happen. So many things happen late
For
in the
sure.
game. I think that's one of the best games. I think it's better than baseball.
Oh,
Yeah.
100%.
Super exciting to watch, at least, Okay, and what about you, Quinn? Knowing what you know now, what would you tell yourself about the college recruiting process?
I'd say it's hard. I'd say I know that I've seen like a lot of girls get like burnt out during their college recruiting process. So I'd say it's definitely tough. Same thing that Alexa said. It's a marathon, and she's right. You are going to see people committing in like the first month or two, and that does get discouraging. But you have to know that everything is going to work out if you put your time into it. So I'd say hard work really pays off. I'd say like we've all been there. We all like put our time in. We all put the hours. I mean, blood, sweat, tears. Like it all pays off in the end. And like if you put time in, it will work out, and you will find a spot that is good for you and that you're happy. And I couldn't be happier with where I ended up. And I'd say I definitely spent those nights like crying and like being frustrated, like, oh, like this doesn't feel like it's ever gonna happen. But then it finally does, and everything clicks. And I just think like my younger self and like younger girls, I'd just say to stick it out, and you will find a spot where you belong. And I will also say don't commit somewhere just to commit somewhere. Like I actually have a lot of friends who like their freshman year, they're not enjoying it. They're not as happy as they thought they could have been because they kind of just jumped at the first offer because they were stressed. And it makes me sad for them, and I feel bad because I'm like, oh, like you guys don't like it. I love it, like where I'm at. Yeah. But I would just say stick it out. That's like my biggest piece of advice.
That's good. I like that you said, like, it's a good saying, you know, you got to shed sweat, blood, and tears. And if you don't shed sweat, blood, and tears, then it really is not worth it.
Right.
For it to be worth it, you have to shed the sweat.
Exactly. Give your everything.
You got to give your everything. That's great. All right, that brings us up to our last question. What are your personal keys to success? Start with Alexa.
I would say I'm very schedule oriented. I think, especially at a high academic school like Harvard, you have to be able to manage school, softball, all the above, and making sure that you have time for yourself. I think I said that earlier. Just making sure that you allot time to do the personal things. Go hang out with friends, go explore, go do things like that. And I think just being confident, I would say, is like a big key to my success. I think you go through these ups and downs and things like that, but at the end of the day, you get to do something that you love, and it's a privilege at the end of the day, because not everyone gets the opportunity that you get, and to wake up and go hang out with 20 of your best friends is something so unique. But I would say consistency and schedules and things like that is definitely.
Do you time block it? You say, okay, Monday morning I'm doing this, Tuesday, Monday afternoon I'm doing this. Yes. So you set up a time and then you follow it, and you set a time to hang out with my friends.
I would say we use Google Calendar a lot as a group, and especially as a team. But my Google Calendar was like full. I don't necessarily allot everything, like hang out with friends. I kind of throw that in there, whatever I desire and things like that. But every single workout, every single class, homework things, all tasks and all that is in my Google Calendar.
You have to be, right? Because it's Harvard.
Yes.
You're playing academics and softball. So time management's the key there, right? Mm-hmm. I would imagine. Sure. From morning sunrise to sunset.
Yes.
Go. That's great. Those are great tips. And then, Quinn, what about your keys to success?
I'd say like my biggest key is like discipline. Like I'm a very disciplined person, like whether it's like my workouts and like school and everything. And I think that I've like gotten better at being like uncomfortable, like pushing myself to like the fact that I am uncomfortable and that I am like going to make that progress, because that's in the end where you do make progress. Like you're not going to get better if you're doing the same thing every day, doing the things that you like. And I think it's very important to know that you're not always going to want to do your homework on time. You're not always going to want to go to this extra workout, but that's what separates people from being good and great. And that's what makes people different. So I think like my biggest key is like, I want to be different. Like I want to be best. I want to be like, I want to stand out in a crowd of people. Like I want people to know that I work hard. I want it to be known. So I think that's a big motivator for me. And I've had people who've like pushed me too. So I think that's been great. As far as scheduling, I would say that was a big like reality check that I got when I got to school, because in high school, I mean, it sounds bad to say, but it's like, I think a lot of us didn't have to try very hard in high school. Like it's different. You get to Harvard and it's like these classes are a lot harder. I mean, I think the first week I got to school, I was not prepared. I got my first math homework. I sat down at 11 p.m. and did not leave the library till about 3 a.m. because I was like, oh my gosh, I need to be better about this. So it was an
You thought, it's gonna take me 30 minutes, I'll be done.
I'm like, in high school it took me like 45 minutes to my math homework. I'm like, I'm good at math, I got this. No, that was not what happened. It took me a solid like 3.5 hours, and I was like, oh, I need to focus. So that was big. So I've started doing schedules and stuff, getting my homework done as soon as possible. But yeah, I just say discipline's my biggest like keyword to success.
Good. Well, thank you both. Those are awesome keys to success. You guys have been fun to interview today.
Thank you.
It's I definitely know I'm not the smartest guy in the room, which is typically how it goes for me anyway. So thank you guys out there for watching as well. I'm Javier with AZ in the Circle, Arizona Softball Podcast. Have a great night.